Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Kalika and you're probably gonna be a better person after watching this video. Almost killed by entitled brother. This is my first time posting on here after spending days reading posts when I was reminded of something that happened to me. Forgive me if it doesn't seem too entitled, but I have seen similar stories. So for context, the story is about me and my half-brother on my dad's side of the family, who is about 4 to 5 years younger than me. My brother, entitled brother, has major anger issues that have been fueled by his mother's lack of parenting skills. Anytime my dad would try to punish him, she would just overrule him. For example, he could have his tablet taken away and have it back in an hour. I also don't live with them as my mum and dad are divorced, so I would spend weekends and a lot of my summertime over there. Anyways, my brother had a PlayStation 2 in the living room that we would always play in the morning. We loved playing WWE SmackDown vs Raw 2008, which was probably the best game we had not named GTA. Well, one morning it was just him and me at the house and I was about 16 or 17 and my dad trusted me to watch him for like 2 hours. We loaded the game up and we're having our usual fun. An hour in and we're doing a Royal Rumble match, 6 guys in a ring and need to throw over top rope to eliminate 30 guys total. And we agreed not to attack each other so we could be the final 2. Well, thanks to the game not having the best aim, I accidentally used my finisher on him instead of on a guy I was trying to hit. He got irritated and I apologised. Well, immediately after he got back up, an NPC attacked him and eliminated him. This is when he snapped. He got so mad he was shaking. I did the responsible thing and said, okay, that's enough, and I turned off the PlayStation 2. Wrong move. This only heightened his anger and he looked around and his eyes settled on a bag of canned goods left on the floor as they were going to be picked up later. The next thing I know, he grabs his bag with 5 or 6 cans and swings it at my head. Normally, my reflexes suck. If you've seen me playing catch, you would think I'm blind. However, in this moment, it was like time slowed down and I managed to dodge it. The TV wasn't so lucky. The TV took the full force of the impact and was ruined. None of the cans were broken, just the TV. Man, it would have sucked if it would have connected and the last thing I saw before being knocked out or worse was Chef Boyardee's face smiling at me as he gets closer. The moment he seen the TV break, he went from death mode to crying his eyes out as he knew that my dad would find out first and he was in major trouble. When my dad found out what happened, he packed up the PlayStation 2 and sold it to a shop in town, as it was his to begin with, and hid his tablet. His mum was upset with him, but like I mentioned above, ended up giving his tablet back by the end of the night. TLDR. Brother with anger issues gets mad at me, swings a bag of cans at my head, I manage to dodge and ends up breaking TV, mum doesn't punish him. Entitled parent demands the novel I'm reading and burns it when I refuse to give it to her. Backstory. My family and I have been living in South Africa for the past 16 years. This incident took place around June last year. I was in a park reading Skullduggery Pleasant Midnight, which had been released in South Africa recently. EM, Witchy entitled Mum. EK, Witchy Kid. Me, c'est moi. PPO, Park Patrol Officer. I was reading my book when Entitled Kid comes up to me. He's about 7 to 8 years old. I was 16. Entitled Kid. Hey, is that Skullduggery Pleasant Midnight? Me. Yeah, I just got it today. The book cost me 300 rand, South African currency. Entitled Kid. I want it. Give it to me. Now. Me. Excuse me? He just grabs it from me and tries to run when I grab him by his shirt and snatch it from him. He gives me a dirty look and runs away. Somewhere deep inside, I knew I effed up and it was only a matter of time before crap went down. Sure enough, I find a furious lady walking up to me just 5 minutes later. Entitled Mum, how dare you assault my kid? He's traumatized because of you. Why don't you just give him the book? Okay, so the thing about me is that I absolutely love books, and so this really pissed me off. How does taking my book back traumatize a kid? Me. I'm sorry ma'am, but I waited in line over 4 hours to get this book and I can't just give it to him. There's a probability that you're intelligent enough to understand. Now please stop bothering me. Entitled Mum, how dare you talk to me like that? I'll let you know that my son can get whatever he wants because he gets really good grades in school. I bet you can't even pass English, you Indian piece of crap. Now just F off. Me, please leave before I call the PPO. She proceeds to grab the book out of my hand, and when I get up, she punches me square in the face, shattering my glasses and breaking my nose. The PPO sees this and rushes to me. She's really pissed off, and when I tell her what happened, she drags the woman back and tells her to give me my book back. Entitled Mum, over my dead body, witch. She throws my book on the ground and effing burns it with her cigarette lighter. The PPO has enough and tells Entitled Mum she's calling the cops. Entitled Mum tries to run, but PPO pins her down. Eventually she's taken into custody for assaulting a minor, and she pays about $300 for the book and $400 for assault charges. I thought that was the last time I would see her, but I was wrong. TLDR, woman tries to take my novel and burns it when asked to return it. There's also a part 2 of this coming soon. Entitled Mum instructs her 3 kids to stand in front of me and block my entire view of the wrestling show. Context: WWE, World Wrestling Entertainment, is an American wrestling company which does 2 European tours per year. I am from a small European country where they do not have any shows. So when the list of shows was released, I had booked a flight to Spain to go and watch the show and booked tickets within an hour of release to ensure that I buy one next to the ramp where the wrestlers make their entrance. I had booked everything including flights, accommodation and tickets 5 months before the show. One can stand up during the entrance but has to sit down once the match starts. At the halfway point of the show, I see Entitled Mum and her 3 kids come next to me during the entrances. Their paid seat was quite far from my seat, but they came next to me to have a better view. However, when the match starts and I go to sit down, she tells her children to stay there in front of me. I tell security about this and he tells them to move back, to which they obey for that match. For the next match, they also stand in front of me. I point this out to security as I cannot tell this to them as I cannot speak Spanish, but I do understand the language. The security went to talk to the parent. The woman in front of me talked to security for me and explained my situation. SE, security, EM, Entitled Mum, fan, a woman who helped to explain my situation. The dialogue is what I remember and what I understood. It is not 100% accurate as I can only just understand Spanish. Security, I need you to move backwards at least so that you do not block other people. Entitled Mum, but if they move back they won't be able to see. Security, I cannot allow you to block the view of other fans. Entitled Mum, but they are only kids, they need to see. They, referring to me and other fans in my area, are adults, my kids are only young. Fan, we bought these tickets as soon as they came out. If you wanted to have a seat here, you should have bought yours here. Entitled Mum, but I paid the same price as you. It's not fair that my kids do not get to see, but you grown-ups can. Then security keeps telling her to move her children, and after a long time, she decides to move them just behind me, which does not block anyone. The same mum, when the final match ended, instructs her kids to sprint to the front row, where tickets cost double what she had paid, to try and get some autographs. Entitled Mum and Entitled Kid stay at my house for a while as we used to be friends, but completely trash it. Okay, so a bit of backstory. I have known Entitled Mum since middle school. She has always been entitled, but I didn't care. She was my only friend. As we got older, she got pregnant at 14 with Entitled Kid. Fast forward 13 years, me and Entitled Mother are both 27 and Entitled Kid is 13. Entitled Mother runs out of money, so I let her and Entitled Kid crash for a while. I didn't mind it, but as soon as it got to the 2nd month, I was getting annoyed. Me, can you please clean up after yourselves? Entitled Mother, but it's not my house, so why should I? Entitled Kid, yeah, and if I keep the room in my room, I shouldn't have to clean it up. Entitled Kid said this with an extremely smug look on her face. I continue to be the only one cleaning and working for another month, and by then I have had well enough of their bullcrap. I try to kick them out, but the convo goes like this. Me, hey Entitled Mother, can I talk to you quickly? Entitled Mother, what about? Me, I feel like you and Entitled Kid should just go. It hasn't been pleasant living with you. Entitled Mother, you can't just kick me and my daughter out. We have nowhere to go, you ungrateful witch. I did so much for you when I lived here. I kept this place effing spotless. So basically, after that conversation, they were out of there. I haven't spoken to her since, and whenever I see her, she gives me the death glare. Okay, so our last story is coming from our very own Alice Dark. Hi Kalica, great job with the original posts. I have a story for you for next video about entitled parents. Here it is. I was 16, 8 years ago, gods I feel old, and my sister was 13. We worked for this rich lady, this is important later, taking care of her son. He is 11 years old and medically diagnosed with Down syndrome. It is our job to raise a man, aka to babysit for her son. This is an entitled parent, but there are more than one in this story. So, our story starts with a vacation. We are asked to come on a 4-family vacation. Our babysat kid and mum, a pair of little girl twins who was 5 and their mum, a school friend of our babysit kid who was 10 and his mum, another mum and her 2 kids who were 9 and 7 years old. Our job? Watch the kid we are paid for. Be an extra set of hands for the others as it is a family vacation with some mummy time. What it turned into. My sister and I are up from 7 AM till about 10 or 11 PM at night with all these kids. Mums constantly walk around with drinks in hand. My sister and I are given a bunk bed off the main house shared with the dryer. Thank gods, as it turned out the house had black friggin' mould in it. We had a beach property and half the kids couldn't swim and all refused life jackets after their parents disappeared behind sunglasses, romance novels and wine glasses. As I was the only one with a lifeguard qualification, it meant I was pretty much legally responsible and had to stay by the water, and my sister was running around trying to keep tabs on the rest of the kids while I was in the water with our kid and the twins. I was told my job was my babysitting kid only because that is what I'm being paid for. Tell the other parents to get up. Half an hour later I tried that and I was told to deal with it as I wanted to be a teacher someday. All except babysitter's mum were school teachers. We were told meals and everything was free and it was vacation for us too. We got half an hour away from the kids for the 5 days we were up there in the local lake and an icy treat. If we wanted anything, I paid as I had snuck some pocket money up with us in case of emergency. I'm a little hypersensitive to possible threats and had to be prepared. I also packed us a cooler of food just in case. Good thing, as usually the twins and our kid needed help with their food and we got little time to eat or the leftovers, or in my case I have bad food allergies. We were paid about $200 each for a week, and this woman could afford to go on vacation, get her son whatever little toy he wanted, took him to concerts multiple times a year and still sit comfortably. Even bragged about how much she made at one point in the vacation. Additional horror is that this cabin we rented belonged to a school teacher I volunteered with during reading week during my high school years. She wouldn't leave after our party got there, was plastered drunk and then drove drunk, putting people in danger. This vacation was a 19 out of 100 and I learned never to travel with a working family again. Thank you again so much for the story. Okay, so that's it for r/entitled parents. As always, if you do want to see more content like this, please do subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!